Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, September the 24th. Certainly the Atlantic Basin is quite active right now. We have three major systems out there. Two are yet to be named as tropical storms, but both have a decent chance of becoming named tropical storms. The third system is, of course, Hurricane Gabrielle, now moving to the east. Quite a strong hurricane right now with maximum sustained winds at 115 miles per hour. Now the other two systems looks like they'll do kind of a dance around each other over the western Atlantic Ocean over the next several days. Close call for the southeastern U.S. coastline and up to let's say the Outer Banks or so, even the potential of an impact farther to the north. But right now, odds kind of favor these two systems dancing around each other and staying just off the East Coast over the next several days. We'll talk about some of the factors involved here over the next few minutes. First of all, here's the latest map from National Hurricane Center. This is Hurricane Gabrielle moving in this direction right now. It ultimately may have an impact in a weakened state on Portugal over let's say 4 or 5 days from now. It is a strong hurricane, maximum sustained winds 115 miles per hour, moving off to the east-northeast. Now, here's the location of the other two systems we're dealing with. One is just on the northeastern edge of the Caribbean Sea, and the other a little bit farther to the east, fairly close to each other. And they kind of do a dance around each other, which makes the forecast certainly more difficult for the models to handle. You have this kind of what we call a Fujiwara effect, where tropical systems will kind of do a dance around each other. Instead of approaching each other too closely, they kind of repel each other at some point and do a rotation around each other. Indeed, that's what looks like these two systems will do right around in this region right here over the next several days or so. So certainly makes the forecast a challenging one, especially for the computer forecast models when you have two such systems so close by. But we'll kind of detail some of the important factors involved in the upper part of the atmosphere. Now, before we get to look at the maps, let's take a look at the satellite imagery loop. This is from Goes East. It's kind of a combination of infrared and visible satellite images as the sun comes up from the east moving to the west. This changes automatically from those infrared images to visible. That's why you see this kind of a change in the pattern here of these satellite images. Here are the two systems of interest for the eastern seaboard of the U.S. One right here, kind of a disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms, northeastern part of the Caribbean Sea. Here is that second wave, not too far away from this initial wave here. And here is Gabrielle, again a strong hurricane up in this location, moving to the east, ultimately could have an impact on Portugal in a weakened state. Right now, a pretty strong hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 115 miles per hour. Now, these two systems will generally move in a west-northwest or a northwest fashion over the next few days, and ultimately will do kind of a dance around each other over the southwestern part of the Atlantic Ocean, uncomfortably close, let's say, to the southeast U.S. coastline. Could potentially impact the southeast U.S. coastline up to the Outer Banks or so, and maybe even a little bit farther north than that. We'll just have to wait and see on this. A challenging forecast given the distance, the really relatively short distance between these two systems here. Again, the first one is looking rather disorganized right now, but it too will encounter more favorable environmental conditions for strengthening over the next few days, as will this one, and both likely to become named tropical storms. Well, let's get back to the continental U.S. and we'll take a look at the radar map across the nation. This is from WSI's Intellicast.com. There were some showers and thunderstorms last night in the Mid-Atlantic region, especially in the northern half of the Mid-Atlantic region, let's say from Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, and areas to the north and west of I-95. Much needed rainfall, and more is on the way. It looks like pretty good soaking rain event coming to the Mid-Atlantic region from tonight into tomorrow night, all associated with a stalled out frontal boundary zone, and low pressure will form on Thursday right along that frontal boundary zone in the Ohio Valley, head to the north and east, into the northeastern part of the nation. Again, a soaking rainfall coming to the Mid-Atlantic region. Here is where we stand today. Already decent amount of rain falling across the Ohio Valley, down across the southern Mississippi Valley region with some heavy rainfall, strong thunderstorms right now across southern Arkansas, moving in a general southeastern fashion here. But this is where a lot of the action is and will continue to be over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. As I said, low pressure is forming over the Ohio Valley, and it will move into the northeastern states by later tomorrow night, bringing much needed and beneficial rainfall to the Mid-Atlantic region and the northeast U.S. There'll be scattered showers and thunderstorms later today in the Mid-Atlantic region, but more numerous showers and storms from tonight into tomorrow night. Well, let's take a look at last night's zero-Z run of the GFS, a conventional version of the GFS. This is the total rainfall prediction for the next 5 days. I often show a 10-day forecast map. This is for the next 5 days, and I want to focus in on a few areas. First of all, a dry period here for much of the northern U.S., certainly from the western Great Lakes all the way to the interior Pacific Northwest. Virtually no precipitation expected in that part of the nation over the next 5 days. Continue to have kind of monsoonal flow of moisture here into the southwestern states, especially those four corner locations of Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. A lot of that moisture flowing to the north out of the western part of Mexico. And it's been quite a decent summer in terms of monsoonal rainfall for the four corner states, which is a good thing because they're generally too dry out in that part of the country. Now, out across the eastern U.S., this is where some of the most sustained rainfall will take place over the next few days here, especially Mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. Certainly many areas can get an inch or two of rain out of this next rain event in the Mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. from later tonight through tomorrow night. That is welcome news there. It's been relatively dry. I notice the heaviest rainfall depicted on the zero-Z GFS is off the coast here, and this is associated with those two systems. You'll see on the surface maps they tend to kind of dance around each other off the southeast U.S. coastline over the upcoming weekend. Challenging forecast. Nothing is completely set in stone right now. Odds do favor these two systems kind of staying just off the coast, but it's awfully uncomfortably close for the southeast U.S. coastline, let's say up to the Outer Banks. Again, maybe even an impact farther to the north. Now, one of the key factors I like to look at with respect to the potential path of a tropical system this time of the year is the 500 millibar height anomaly pattern here, and specifically looking for strong upper level ridging over the southeastern part of Canada to enhance the chance of tropical systems moving from the east to the west into the southwestern Atlantic Ocean. Now, we do have such a ridge here, as you can see here depicted in orange and red. It's a very strong upper level ridge this morning, Wednesday morning, over the Hudson Bay region of Canada. But the trough down here across the Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley, is also a key player here, and that tends to lead me to believe these two systems will stay off the east coast over the next several days, but it's something we obviously have to continue to monitor. So let's move forward here. Again, you do have strong upper level ridge over southeastern Canada. This is the forecast map for Thursday morning, but we also have this strong upper level trough here coming across the Ohio Valley into the Mississippi Valley, and that will continue to kind of slide slowly to the east and have some kind of an impact on those tropical systems here out over the western Atlantic Ocean come this weekend. Here we are into the morning on Saturday. Again, there is a ridge up across the Hudson Bay region of Canada, but also this impressive and important player here, this upper level trough here, kind of a reflection here of one system not far from the Bahamas on Saturday morning. This is a reflection of one of those tropical systems here, and it will interact with that upper level trough. And here we go by the time we get to Sunday, and then even into Monday morning. Again, this is the location, likely location for those couple of systems interacting with each other. Some were just off the southeast U.S. coastline, and yes, there is a strong upper level ridge over south central Canada, edging to the east here, but you also have this upper level trough that's interacting with those tropical systems. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. We'll go out a little bit farther in time here, and that ridge will be something to monitor here by the middle part of next week. And here is that trough kind of absorbing those tropical systems at this point. They'll come awfully close to at least part of the east coast here over the next several days. So something we'll continue to monitor. This is all the way now, a week from right now, a strong upper level region parked over the Hudson Bay region of Canada. Now let's walk through the surface forecast maps from last night's 0Z run of the GFS, and then we'll take a look at the Canadian model as well, just for comparison sake here. Starting off rain-free right now in much of the eastern Mid-Atlantic region. There are some showers out across western PA, West Virginia this morning here. And then they'll tend to increase in coverage by late today, early tonight, and become more numerous by later on tonight. And we'll have numerous showers and thunderstorms from tonight into tomorrow night in this part of the nation. Here's that low pressure system I alluded to earlier, kind of forming along that stalled out frontal boundary zone. That low pressure area enhances the rainfall later tonight into tomorrow. This is the forecast map for Thursday morning. And could turn out to be a nice rainy day. Places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, something we haven't had in a while. And certainly an inch or more on the table for the I-95 corridor region from later tonight through tomorrow night. We'll go into tomorrow midday and then tomorrow night, and that low pressure area moves from the Ohio Valley into the northeast U.S. Even a pocket of heavy rainfall depicted here by late tomorrow night up across New England, and that threat of showers continues into the early morning hours on Friday. Very slow moving frontal system, even as late as early Friday morning, is kind of hanging around the East Coast, and because it hangs around, cannot completely rule out a few lingering showers on Friday, even into Saturday in portions of the Mid-Atlantic region. We'll go out a little farther in time here, and here we go into the day on Saturday. Now, at this point, you have the appearance of those tropical waves here. Again, one right now over the northeastern Caribbean, and another one just to its east. And here they are by early Saturday morning, as depicted by the 0Z run of the GFS, and both generally moving in this direction here, relatively close to each other. Notice surface high here over southeastern Canada. So let's kind of move forward here and watch these two systems. They'll tend to kind of dance around each other over the upcoming weekend, do kind of what we call a Fujiwara effect. That was a Japanese scientist that wrote an important publication about how tropical waves will tend to rotate around each other. Certainly, we'll backtrack a little bit here and just watch these two systems kind of rotate around each other. Ultimately, one of them becomes the main player here, but this is the forecast map for the early part of next week. Again, relatively close to the Outer Banks, something to keep our eyes on here. There's one system right here and a second system right here. Obviously, this makes for a difficult forecast for these computer forecast models being so close together here. They tend to rotate around. Again, one ultimately becomes the main player here. You have that high pressure by Tuesday centered over the Hudson Bay region of Canada. This starts to turn to the north and east, and it looks like it's safely off the coast by the time we get to a week from right now, the middle of next week. But obviously something we'll have to continue to closely monitor over the next several days. Now let's wrap up here by walking through the Canadian model run from last night, and again we'll focus in on the southwestern Atlantic Ocean. It agrees with the GFS on soak and rain event coming to the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. from tonight into tomorrow night. Then we go a little bit out in time here, and we get into the early morning hours on Saturday. And here are those two systems on the Canadian model. One right over the Bahamas, and the second one just coming into the picture right here off to its east as of Saturday morning with surface high over southeastern Canada. And similar to the GFS, they tend to do kind of a dance around each other. Here we go by the time we get to the early part of next week. Both healthy systems at this particular time certainly appear to be named tropical storm status and likely hurricane status at this stage here, as at least as depicted by the 0Z run of the Canadian model. They tend to kind of move around each other and then off to the north and east by the time we get to the middle part of next week, not reaching the U.S. East Coast, but again, coming uncomfortably close here, so something we'll have to monitor over the next several days. And by the middle of next week, which happens to be October 1st, very, very strong high pressure at the surface here over the southeastern part of Canada. This is going to be a main player for the weather across a large part of Canada and the northeastern U.S. And again, we're likely to have two tropical systems, potentially both hurricanes, by the early part of next week over the southwestern Atlantic. So a very interesting weather pattern and a difficult, a challenging forecast here, something we'll have to closely monitor in the days to come. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.